You can keep eating. I only want to hear knives, forks, and plates. So welcome to the second half of the first day of Hi-Tec here in Chicago. I'm Marilyn Barger. I'm actually co-chair for the conference this year with John, who welcomed you this morning. I didn't have anything really great to say about Chicago since I don't live here. I was born about 50 miles from here, and I lived there in Gary, Indiana for 3 weeks, and then moved to Florida. So I don't really remember a whole lot. But it's great to be here, and it's really great to see this big crowd. Holy cow, there's like lots of people here. We're really excited that you're all have joined us. And I'm going to move right on to the awards, which is our program for lunch today. We're going to, every year Hi-Tec gives out 3 awards, and Mel Cassette, who's on our executive committee, runs that program for us. Mel Cassette from the Matt Ed Center, and she's going to introduce the awards. While she's coming up, I just want to mention that the producers, the centers that produce and the organizations that produce this, the ATE centers, all are eligible to nominate their partners, their business partners, their educator partners for these 3 awards that we're going to give today. So these are award winners are selected from those centers who are producing the Hi-Tec conference. So where's Mel?
Hi, good afternoon. Is everybody having a great time? Yes? Isn't the food fabulous? Okay. Sheila does a wonderful, wonderful job. But this is my time. This is the best part of the whole Hi-Tec conference, as far as I'm concerned. Because this is like Christmas in July. This is where we get to recognize folks that have done a great job and have devoted their lives, if not their work time, their life balance, to promoting technician education. And so for that, we would like to honor them today. We have 3 awards, and typically we do give out 3. You'll see today we're going to give out 4. There's a reason for that. But we're going to start with the Educator of the Year Award. And the Educator of the Year Award recognizes a community college instructor for outstanding contributions to advanced technology education. Nominees to the award must have had a demonstrated impact on technology education on both the local and national level, and represents Hi-Tec's commitment to recognize community college faculty who make significant contributions to the education and training of today's technological workforce. So I'd like to introduce Dr. Marilyn Barger, who will introduce this year's award winner.
Okay, I'm back. We get ready for that class. So it's my great pleasure to introduce Dan Horine as the Educator of the Year for this year's Hi-Tec. Dan's sitting here in the front. I think most of you know him, and if you don't know him, oh, there he is right there in the front. Can't see too much over his phone. Dan, I was introduced to Dan a couple years ago when he was awarded his first small grant project. So while you Mentor Connect people out in the audience, here's somebody you want to talk to after he goes on his cruise this afternoon. He'll be around again. Dan was looking to grow his program in Roanoke, in Western Virginia Community College, where he teaches a mechatronics program. And he took the program, the existing programs that were there, and just railroaded them forward at a very fast pace, and has developed an outstanding program involving many of his high school feeder schools in the areas around his college. They have come to Hi-Tec as a group for, I think, 3 years now. The whole group. 3 or 4 high school teachers, Dan, Terry, who really runs the show, and always just coming here looking to learn. It was part of their professional development portfolio in their small grant. And today, Dan is actually waiting to hear about being awarded a regular full grant from NSF ATE. We were hoping we could announce that today, but that's not going to happen. A little pressure on the front table. So I guess can't say enough about Dan. He's really so passionate and so contagious just being around him, and he's so excited about his program. And it was a great match for us to work with him and his industry partners. I've been to his program several times in the last couple of years, working with him, his educational partners and his industry partners. And his big deal for inviting me to come to the middle of Western Virginia was to let the folks there, the industry people there, know and understand that what he was doing with his NSF projects was part of a much bigger initiative around the country. And he just felt really strong about that we had that peace attitude, making his industry feel like they weren't alone, isolated in a little part of the country. So I always felt like that was a really important message for him to share with them, and for all of us too, as we continue to expand our own network. So, like I said, Dan has been here. Many of you know him from being at Hi-Tec. If you don't know him, like I said, after his cruise this afternoon, going out to celebrate, please make an opportunity to meet him, especially when you mentor Connect people in here. Nice success story, now winning the award. And actually, I really project that, I don't know if I could bet money, because I'm not really a gambler, but that someday Dan will be up here awarding, giving the award to one of the younger faculty in the audience, one of the ATE participants. So right now I'd like to ask Dan to come up. You can read all the details in that program, so we kind of skip those.
Well, thank you very much. I am humbled and honored to receive the Educator of the Year Award. And I just want to start by saying I received a fellowship to come to this conference about 7 years ago, and it was so comforting to come from industry to this conference and realize that I was not alone. There were groups of people working to create the technical workforce that we need in this country so that we can be economically prosperous and, of course, national security. So I feel like the only right thing to do is to tell you what you've taught me over the past 7 years. And there are 4 simple things. One is, no one cares how much you know until they know how much you care. And you can interpret that many different ways. How much you may care about the student, or how much you may care about the subject. Because when they know and understand your passion, they're much more likely to want to learn from you and engage you in the classroom. The second thing that I've learned from you is you need to meet the students where they are. We all have goals and expectations from industry to have our students leave at a certain level, and the probability of you getting them to that level increases exponentially if you meet the students where you are, not where you want to begin your course. The third thing that I've learned from you is that students need to experience success early when they are encountering a new subject or a new topic area. If you can have them experience success early, they're much more likely to want to try harder to learn and feel more confident to experiment. And the last thing that I've learned from you is always start with why the students need to know what you're going to teach them. Implement the systems approach in every lecture, in every time, in every lab, because when the students know why they need to know that subject, they'll stay connected to you in the classroom. So, in closing, I'll say we are who we are because of our parents, because of our surroundings. My mother was an educator for 34 years, and I said I would never be an educator. So from the very beginning, I've learned from both words and example that education is the key to success. My father is a rock-solid example of perseverance and strong work ethic. So while you're here at the conference, we're all surrounded by people who believe, and so surround yourself with those positive people and work together. Thank you.
Congratulations, Daniel. The next award that we have is Industry Recognition Award. And this is awarded to industry people that have been recognized for outstanding contributions to promote technology education. Nominees of this award must have a demonstrated impact on technology education on both a local and a national level. The award represents Hi-Tech's commitment to recognize industry colleagues who make significant contributions to the education and training of today's technology workforce. I will say that this year, in the 7 years I think that we've been doing this is the first year that our committee could not just identify one person. And that is a big tribute to the industry partners in this room, that it was very difficult. They give of their time, they give of themselves, they give of their families, and of their work life. And so with that, after we met a few times, the committee came to consensus that we wanted to give 2 awards to some very, very important contributing members of technician education. So with that, I would like to ask Mr. Steve Harrington from the National Supply Chain Technology Center to come up and present the first award.
Thank you, Mel. My name is Steve Harrington. I'm the industry liaison for the National Center for Supply Chain Technology Education. And I'm here to introduce Phil Jones for the Industry Award. First off, I'd like to acknowledge the PI for our project, Kevin Fleming, for having the vision 2.5 years ago to create the position of industry liaison, which was the forerunner to a strong industry leadership team that we've developed to this point. I also want to make sure, Eileen, can you please stand up? My wife Eileen came with me to Denver. I love you, sweetheart. Yeah. And also very important, along with Phil today came his wife, Joe, and his daughter, Sunny. If you could please stand up. Yeah. Sunny is the Minnesota State breaststroke champion for 11-year-olds. And her father speaks volumes about her. I can't get off the phone sometimes talking about his daughter. So, with that said, Phil Jones has provided outstanding leadership, valuable input, strong guidance, and steadfast commitment to our National Center, which is a cornerstone to our success. Phil's steadfast commitment was learned during his service in the Gulf War, and some of his experiences, including living out in the desert with other soldiers in foxholes when it's 50 degrees below zero, cuddling up to stay warm, to survive, wearing a chemical suit for 4 months, never taking that off for 4 months, unshowered, and out in the oil fields where they had the Kuwaitis, they were lit, and the smoke was up in the air, and I'm sure most of you remember those points in this country's history. So Phil understands commitment. He's carried that same commitment forward in terms of the work that he's done with our National Center. There's detail about his background and a very lengthy very lengthy nomination for the award that we submitted is summarized in the program. But basically, he's traveled to a half a dozen different states. At Target's own expense, he works for the Target Corporation, advocated strongly on behalf of the National Center. He's provided critical information and resources to our National Center, enabling us to develop some of the resources that we've developed to date. And facilitated introductions, which is really key. So Target has 40 distribution centers across the country. He's facilitated introductions at 7 distribution centers in 4 states, where community college people have come and met with executives from Target at those locations and begin to form the bond of relationships which will spur and grow the program that we're working on. Anyway, I have a pleasure and I'm honored to call Phil Jones my friend and a work colleague. Phil, can you please come up and accept the award?
Thank you very much. Before I begin, I'd like to express appreciation to my very fine colleagues with the SCTE. It's always a pleasure working with you. I'm inspired by what you do. And also specifically to my many field partners with Target Corporation out in many sites around the country. My role is the industry chair or the chair for the industry leadership team for the SCTE. It is a fun one. It really gets me jazzed up because in the end I get to go ahead and connect people with related needs and abilities. So first off, our buildings always struggle to go ahead and recruit technicians. Finding the right people to work inside of our distribution centers is always a challenge. So through the SCTE, we've been able to go ahead and connect many of those buildings specifically with local community and tech colleges to go ahead and look and find programs that can provide a pipeline of technicians for the future for us. I also try to help connect the SCTE to many of our industry vendors so that they can get a feel for the most current and relevant technology that's available inside of the broader market so that they understand and can go ahead and build that into the curriculum that they're putting together. And then finally, through the SCT, I'm also able to go ahead and connect local educational leadership, deans, and educators specifically to take tours inside of our facilities so that they can get a flavor of what is going on inside of the community, the exciting technology that's out there and the opportunities there are with the correct curriculum to go ahead and make a big difference. 2 years ago when the SCT reached out to Target and asked for somebody to participate with the industry leadership team, I had the privilege to go ahead and get that role. And these 2 years have been very exciting because I feel very connected to the higher purpose of what they're doing and what its importance is in the United States right now. And also been very gratified with how open and interested the SCTE is reaching out and getting inputs from industry and to help guide what they're doing there. So that makes it very easy to fulfill my role overall. The last 2 years have been very enjoyable. I feel very connected to a higher purpose. You know, every time that I see success with what we're doing, I feel like this is something that really makes a difference. This is something where it helps to build a stronger United States overall as our economies get stronger, as our businesses get more vibrant and are able to go ahead and provide much better, higher skilled, higher technical roles for our students as they come out. This will go ahead and be a great thing for the future. So in the end, I'd really once again like to thank my many partners inside the SCTE. You guys inspire me. And what's really cool is you help to go ahead and make my everyday work feel important. Thank you very much.
Okay. Sorry about that. So, I'm not going to read this piece again, other than I'm just going to read this one section to remind you that this nomination is for an award that has demonstrated impact on technology education on a local and national level. So again, this is another industry colleague award, and I would like to ask Ann Baheeler to come up and announce her nominee.
What a joy to announce our nominee and that he won. Glenn Wittrick works with CTOs from 26, probably more than that now, major cities across the globe in the Smart Cities Initiative for Dell. Most of the time he spends his time on planes or in Europe or somewhere else around the world. However, for 15 years he's been working with us. And I have to say, he has given. He was highly involved, if you all remember back to the first of the 2000s, when the IT business was in the dumps, so to speak, when the dot-com bust occurred and such. Glenn was there leading us to figure out what the next new wave would be. He's helped, along with a few other business people, to initiate our business and industry leadership team, which is more than just a name change. They actually do lead what we work. They don't advise. He is not an advisor to us. He is the leader, or one of the leaders. He's helped us in crafting multiple grants along the way. He was chair for the BILT for many, many years, and he was just mentioning to me just a few minutes ago that we finally came up with someone to hand it over to, which was just in time, a fellow by the name of Matt Glover, and you'll see him hopefully in future years. Anyway, he also was the first chair of our combined national business and industry leadership team for both the National Convergence Technology Center, which is IT plus communications, and our DOL TAC grant. So he shared on that as well. I have to say, he pushes us. He really does, and that is good, and we welcome it. Even last night over dinner, he was saying, you know, I need to remind you, you were going to get me and Matt together to talk about, anyway, the rest of the story. So that's back on the top of the priority list. At Dell, he has worked to provide free certified instructors to us for our training for faculty. He has arranged an extensive all-day tour for all the members of our Convergence College Network at Dell. And he has helped us to gain special pricing for virtual lab equipment for partners across the nation. He speaks to classes, he works with students individually, he participates in business panels both locally and nationally. He's been a former president or chair of our Interlink group, which sits between education and business in the North Texas area. And he is a frequent attendee and participant and program presenter for Hi-Tec, and also for at the ATE conference for various pre-conferences. Currently, he's working with, or he introduced me to, a group of 26 Canadian colleges to promote collaboration in general. And the Canadian group has now invited me to go work with them to actually get their colleges and universities in the province of Alberta to collaborate more, which is good. When help is needed, I asked Glenn, what are you doing on, let's pick a date, November 12th, 2014. He won't skip a beat, he won't ask me what, he'll look at his calendar, if he's available, then he looks up and says, where are we going, what are we doing? That's the kind of dedication that's fabulous. In the end, his work truly makes that proverbial difference. I think all of us love to do that, but I have to say, as a business person, he has made that proverbial difference with numerous students in our consortium across the nation. So, Glenn Wintrick, I'd like to recognize you.
After all that, I may have to hold my head and prop it up. It's gotten a little large in the last few minutes. I wanted to start by thanking all of the colleges, all 40 colleges involved in CTC and all the staff, some of which, of course, are right over here. They put up with me for almost 15 years now. And as you said, I'm not an easy person to get along with sometimes. If we go back 15 years, you're probably saying, well, what was the first thing? If you stuck around for 15 years, what got them involved and what kept them there? Well, 15 years ago, I was working with Cisco and EDS Corporation, which is now part of HP. We were launching something called Unified Communications. We all have it now. We have our IP video with Skype. We have our voicemails that go to our phone. We have IP phones like Vonage. Well, at the time in 2000, the dot-com bust, we were launching all these services right after Y2K. And we looked around, and I'd forgotten one thing as the project leader for a global launch of the services. Where are the technicians to support it? We sold $1 billion deal, $1.7 billion to Dow Chemical, 180 countries. I couldn't even find people in Dallas, Texas who could do the maintenance. I had a bit of a problem, you might say. I had an itch to get scratched, and I heard of this thing called the Collin County College and the work they were doing around technology, so I showed up for a meeting. Lo and behold, 6 months later, I was president of the Business Advisory Council at the time, and with a strong drive to make it successful. So that was what got me started. And I have to tell you, I have a loving wife of almost 15 years now. about the same time I got involved, so my marriage to the college and my wife came about the same time. And I always wondered how she could get such joy out of charitable things that she wasn't being paid for. After 24 years in the military, I did things because it was the right thing to do. It wasn't charity, it was the right thing to do. And she got such joy. And over the years, I kept saying, the reason I'm doing this is I need the workforce, I need the workforce. Well, suddenly, 10, 12 years later, I didn't need the workforce anymore. We're doing a great job of producing it, and I'm still involved. And what the difference is now is when I look back at some of the things we've done, not only did we put together the cutting edge technology, we built a 40-college consortium to take this across the entire United States, but we've also brought things into the curriculum that didn't exist 15 years ago. We used to produce great technology people, and the phrase was, they are great at technology, don't let a customer see them. Does that sound familiar? And we decided there were some things we needed. We came up with about 10 to 12 soft skills, and we incorporated those into all the courses. And I tell you, it'd take me a lot more than the 3 minutes they want me to use just to talk about some of the professionals that we have teaching and how they've integrated in project management, time management, working as teams, meeting deadlines. I would think everyone in here knows that those are some of the things that are hard for our young people today. Now when they go to job interviews, we tell them to take a portfolio of the work of what they've done in their courses, because they haven't just learned technology, they've learned the skills to be workforce ready. And that's what keeps me engaged to this very day, even with my high travel schedule of 50% of my time in Europe. It's like every time I go to a meeting, every time I work with a student or a class, I recognize that we are producing the best quality students from our community colleges of any country I go to in the world. We produce the best. It's because we're producing well-rounded students with a great education. And with that, I'd like to thank all of you for having me up here and giving me this award today. Thank you.
Isn't this fun? It is for me, because this is the best job in all of Hi-Tec. So, the last award we have for today is the Innovative Program Award. This award is designed to recognize a team of advanced technology education professionals that have designed and implemented a significant innovation, which has led to a positive impact on student enrollment and retention and/or advanced technology education. This award represents Hi-Tec's commitment to recognize innovation in advanced technology education. With that, I'd like to introduce and ask Dr. Richard Schultz to come up and announce his nominee.
Hi, my name is Rich Schultz, and I'm a science faculty member at Southern New Hampshire University. That's a new position for me. I'm just transitioning there. The good part about that is while I'm teaching at Southern New Hampshire and helping with their curriculum in the geospatial area, I get to stay in the Chicago area. Technology is a wonderful thing, let me tell you. I'm pleased to have nominated Dr. Vince Denoto of the National Geospatial Technology Center of Excellence, or the Geotech Center, for the Hi-Tec Innovative Program Award. Geotech Center is a National Science Foundation Advanced Technology Education, or ATE, Center of Excellence. It's located at Jefferson Community and Technical College in Louisville, Kentucky. And this is actually the second home for the Geotech Center. It was formerly located in Corpus Christi, Texas. So the Geotech Center has been in existence for approximately 5 years now, and it has produced some rather impressive results in its goal to strengthen the geospatial workforce in the United States. The Geotech Center is currently in its second year of the 3-year National Science Foundation grant, and it's comprised of 11 colleges and universities across the United States, which make up the entire team. In 2010, the Geotech Center produced the Geospatial Technology Competency Model, or GTCM, in collaboration with the United States Department of Labor. It has now produced a revised version of that model, which is actually being presented here tomorrow at 8:15 in a morning session. Additionally, the Geotech Center, under Dr. Donato's direction, has become the one-stop shop for all things in the geospatial industry, including model courses and curricula, best practices for effectively implementing geospatial technologies into the educational curriculum at various levels, including secondary educators as well as 2-year and 4-year institutions across the United States. Dr. Donato is directly responsible also for the creation of the GeoEd conference that's held each year to bring together geospatial professionals as well as educators and students in order so that they can network together for the future geospatial industry. It's my pleasure to have nominated Dr. Donato and the National Geospatial Technology Center of Excellence for this award. They're truly deserving and will continue to make strides in the STEM areas. Congratulations, Dr. Donato.
It's truly humbling to receive this award for the National Geospatial Center. It's always interesting when you look at emails. This was about 10:45 at night that I looked at an email that I got saying that we were receiving this award. I was about ready to go to read my normal hour and go to sleep. Little to say that I was a little bit hyped up at that moment. That didn't really happen. This is a team effort. The Geotech team is a distributed national center. We did not ever think about locating in one city. My co-PIs are in 4 different states, some days 5 different states, because one person has 2 houses, so it depends on what day you ask me. But it truly is a team effort that we do with the Geotech Center. And so my co-PIs, my senior team members who are scattered across the country, we're in 4 time zones, 22 states. It's been interesting to make this all happen. And also with the move from Corpus to Louisville has also been very, very interesting. Obviously, receiving this through the National Geospatial Center would not be possible without the support of the National Science Foundation, ATE. And not only has ATE supported us in this effort, but over the years of the existence of ATE, they've been willing to support a lot of my different ideas over the different years, and so I truly appreciate their support and how they grew me from one step to another step, being able to make some things happen. I must thank my president, Tony Newberry, and my provost, who's been my only boss in 30 years at Jefferson. I've had the same boss, my provost, Diane Calhoun-Fringe, which is unheard of, I know, in education to have one boss for that many years. But they gave me the ability not to question where I'm at. They signed my out-of-state travel with no questions, not wondering, what am I doing? How's this going to affect Jefferson? Just go out and do what you think is right. And very few people have ever had those opportunities. So they thought they were hiring a physicist that was going to be a full-time faculty member. I've taught in 30 years full-time 3 semesters. So they've been very supportive of what I do. Again, the National Center team that's scattered across the country, but also those people who work with me. We've been very fortunate to find lots of very, very good people that we've taken to levels that they never expected us to take them to. I know I come into my Monday morning staff meeting and they look at me and say, what's he thinking of this time? Did they always do what we ask? They implement it. I have to ask them when the GeoEd conference goes on, where am I supposed to be? Because they just take care of it. They've done it for so many years. So I have a great staff that works with me at the college, plus my national staff. And not thinking anything least, but I've got to also thank my family. My wife Cindy's here with me today, and I heard her once describe that she's a married widow, because I was always out roaming around, and a lot of the times when my 2 children were growing up, that I was out on the road and things, and they've been very, very supportive of it. And the philosophy that I've sort of taken is, when an opportunity presents itself, either say yes or no. If you say yes, put everything you have into the opportunity. If you say no, don't look over your shoulder. Don't look back at what it might have been. Just look for the next opportunity. So thank you very much.
Okay, thank you all for sitting through this. We're not done yet, though. We've got a couple more things to say and to mention. But I wanted to say one more time, thank you to all the nominators and the awardees who so graciously accepted their awards today. All producers have the ability to submit an award or submit a nomination, so please think about this next year, because I think we're going to be doing this again. It seems to be a very popular piece of Hi-Tec, and also well-deserved. It's one of the few times, I think, Mike Lasek, you'll agree that it's one of the few times we get to honor these folks that have worked with us for so long and so hard, along with all of Hi-Tech's committee. The executive committee has just been great about including this in every single session that we do, or every single year that we do this. So, did you want to close it? Oh, I just have a few announcements. I'm supposed to remind you that sessions are going on this afternoon, which will be followed by a reception from 4:30 to 6 in the East Tower where the exhibit hall is. And they are planning on some heavy hors d'oeuvres, which means you may not even have to go out for dinner, which is great. You can see all the exhibits, because I know these folks would love to have you there, especially the members from industry that have given their time to be here. And then on Thursday, I'm to remind you that we will have breakfast in the exhibit hall again at 7:30 to 8:15, followed by some more sessions, followed by a keynote lunch and more sessions at that point. So thank you, and thank you for attending the awards luncheon today.
All right, well, thank you, Mel, and congratulations again to all the awardees and all of you producers of Hi-Tec. Think about nominees for next year. It won't be that, it's not that far away. So Mel came out with all the reminders, so I have nothing else to say except go forth and have a great afternoon, and I'll see you in the exhibit hall later this evening for the raffle prizes and food. More food.